Welcome to Fairy Tale Access, where the head fairy's quest is to prove that fairy tales do exist in actual time rather than once upon a time. Together, we will unravel the heroes, young and old, who turn dreams into reality. These are the people who still believe in happily ever after. The discoveries will bend even our most cynical non-believers into believing in fairy tales. Hi, welcome to Fairy Tale Access. Today we're at the Healing Heart Farm with the owner and instructor, Anissa Harte. And today we're going to find out all about horses, therapeutic riding, and just an introduction to horseback riding. So thank you for joining me.
No problem. Thank you for having me.
My pleasure. So can you tell us a little bit about the farm and what you do here?
Sure. Healing Heart Farm has been around for about 6 years. We have a total of 4 horses here, and we do Western riding, trail riding, and therapeutic riding lessons. Thanks to my lovely husband, he allowed me to have the farm at my house, which was a great accomplishment because it took a lot of work to get the horses here and everything else. And it's been a lot of work, but it's been fantastic. I love having them home, and you know, like I said, so we got everything set up about 6 years ago, and we've had them for a while. And like I said, we have 4 horses today, 2 of which we have here, and 2 are off-site right now.
Okay.
So.
Can you give us a little information about the horses that we're on today?
Absolutely. So this is Trinity. She's a 10-year-old Clydesdale. We just actually acquired her on Saturday. We have some friends that board her here, so she's actually a boarder here, and she's been a fantastic lesson horse. She's been doing therapeutic riding lessons, and they allow us to use her horse. So that's what she's been doing right now. This is Captain. Captain is about anywhere from 15 to 18 years old. Not really sure on the age exactly, but he's a Tennessee Walker. He is a much different ride than this type of horse. These type of horses, the Clydesdales, are very docile. They are totally meant for their gentle giants. That is exactly what they are. I mean, you rode around a little bit, you got to feel her. She's a very gentle giant. He rides more now. Not that I can say I've ever ridden a camel, but that's kind of the feel. It's that side to side. He's what's called gated. So he's a very different ride. It's not as smooth when you start to ride him on like a canter or a trot. It's a nice smooth ride. So it's a very different ride. The other 2 horses that we have that are off-site are both Morgans. Beautiful rides. One is 18 years old and the other one is 10 years old. Both mares. She is a mare, he is a gelding. I don't know if you want me to explain what they are, the difference. A mare is a female and the gelding is a boy that's no longer, it is fixed. So.
Oh, okay.
Yep.
And what type of services do you offer here?
Sure. So what we do is we really we work with Western riding and trail riding, and I'm in the process of doing therapeutic riding. So the Western riding lessons are really about teaching kids how to ride in the Western. And in this part of the state, we don't offer a lot of Western riding. Most of what people do here for equine is a lot of English. Mm-hmm. So you know that would kind of pose me to really work with the Western, because a lot of people don't do Western around here, and there's actually not even a lot of places that sell Western tack around here because there's just not a lot of people that do it. Wow. So, and then we have trail rides. We have miles and miles, hundreds of miles at Horse Hill Nature Preserve. Mm-hmm. And it's a conservation land where we can go over and we can ride those trails unlimited, and it's beautiful. So we do offer trail rides. We do birthday parties. And then as far as the therapeutic riding, we're starting to get into that with kids and adults with special needs, whether it's physical special needs or physical and mental special needs. So we work with both for kids and adults.
Great. Now, what is the PATH International certifications?
Yep. So PATH International is a therapeutic program that offers an instruction program. They are very well renowned. They're out of Colorado. And what they do is they certify individuals and centers for being therapeutic riding. So I'm actually just finished up my 2 tests of it. They do it in phases. There's a phase 1 and a phase 2. Mm-hmm. Phase 1 is comprised of getting a first aid and CPR certification. It's called the Horsemanship Skills Manual that you have to go through with someone that understands you and make sure you understand understand the information. And then you get tested on 2 different abilities. You get tested on equine knowledge and science, and then it's on the PATH certifications and accreditations. So I just completed those, and then the next phase of it all is me taking 25 hours, doing 25 hours at a certified place already that you do 25 teaching hours with children or adults with disabilities. And then the next phase of it is doing a riding test in front of the board. So once I've completed that, I have 1 year to complete that test. But like I said, I can start doing riding lessons now in therapeutics. So what we're really starting out doing now with the therapeutic part of it is really just having kids come over and really learning about the horses. And that's really where we start at the beginning, is learning about the horse and kind of just introducing them to them. So.
Oh, great. And what kind of children would be, would the therapeutic riding help?
You know, to be quite honest, therapeutic isn't just for the children, it's about for the adults as well. There's nothing more joyous than seeing the face of a child who, you know, we've had kids come over who have, like I said, physical disabilities, who, you know, this horse is fantastic. We call him, his name is Captain, but we call him Mr. Wiggles for the mere reason that he'll come up to the fence and just wiggle his nose, and even if a child can't touch a horse, he can go up to them and at least put their nose on. We do take them out into the yard so that the kids can actually get to feel the horse, and in some cases if a child can't feel the horse, you know, we can brush the horse up against the child. So it's really about that bonding. It's about building your confidence, self-esteem, and just bonding. There's something about a horse and a child that bonds together like nothing else. It's amazing. It's amazing.
It's true. I think it works that way with adults too.
It absolutely does work with adults. Trust me. On the days that I've had bad days, and when my neighbor comes over, we've had bad days, this is our therapy.
Wow. And what's your educational background?
Yep. So like I said, I've done the PATH certification, and I've taken a lot of classes. It's called Horse 101 College. So there's a lot of courses there. I also am in the process of just finishing up my degree at Southern New Hampshire University for my psychology and sociology. So my ultimate goal is to work with psychology with children, like I said, with disabilities. I also worked at a residential group program with girls from 18 to 21 that had disabilities, more on the emotional disabilities and mental disabilities. But I worked with them for quite a while, a couple of months, you know, to do some like an internship. Mm-hmm. And it's fabulous. I just love working with the kids. And you know, like I said, so I've got a little bit about that, and like I said, I'm almost done my degree at Southern New Hampshire University, so.
Great, sounds like it'll be a great fit.
Yeah.
What about your barn management style?
Yep. So I actually have a little helper. Some of your viewers may know her as Madison. She's a great helper, but as far as my management style, I'm really about educating the children, and safety is number one. I know we're not wearing helmets today, but I am very big into wearing helmets. No child or adult, when riding, is allowed to be on the horses without helmets. So I'm very big into the safety and understanding the basics of the horse. Mm-hmm. Before anyone gets on a horse, I want to make sure they have a clear understanding. So as far as that goes, you know, like I said, I want to make sure they understand the horse, get a little bit of knowing it. And like I said, I'm really about the safety and the education, you know.
Great. And how did you get into the business?
Like everybody else, I think everybody started out with a hobby when you were a kid, you know, whether it was baseball, soccer, whatever. When I was a kid, I used to ride. My neighbors used to have horses, so I used to ride all the time. Mm-hmm. And my husband, 1 year for my birthday, 6 years ago, said, you know what, I've got a surprise for you. I want to take you out horseback riding. Well, that was a big mistake on his part. I don't know if he regrets it or not, but it was a big mistake, because from there on out, I said, I want a horse. And like I said, man's a blessing, because he said, okay, go ahead and live out your dream. So it started with it was a pony, and it was actually a colt. And I couldn't ride it at the time because it was only 2 years old, and I really wanted to ride. So then I got my Morgan, and I rode, and the rest is history. I keep buying and training them. And
oh my gosh. So what other horse training services do you offer then?
So one of the horses that's not here right now, she was a rescue, and she was what's called Greenbroke. So Greenbroke is a horse that has had some time under saddle, but has some, you know, either it's, you know, not been out on the trails or needs some really work to really get to the next level of training. So we actually took that horse, that rescue horse, and that's what I do. I take the Greenbroke horses and really work with them and get them comfortable in the arena so that other people can ride them, and then take them out on the trails. She's turned out to be an amazing horse. We've actually owned Lee since November, and she's an amazing horse. But I also take some, the horses that aren't Greenbroke and work with them. I mean, it's a lot of work, starting with the ground manners first and then just letting them learn, as simple as things as like taking a rope around their ankles because they're so jumpy, they've never had anyone on them. So it's those type of things that you start out with at the beginning and then just kind of work your way up. So I really my passion is really love working with the horses that have no training, because at the end of the day, it's something that you've said you have accomplished. So you take a horse that didn't have that foundation and you built it up. So it's nice.
It's fantastic. How does your family feel about it now?
Oh, I don't know. My husband has these moments of how did I get here moments. He looks out the backyard every day and says, how did I get here moments? And now with the Clydesdale, I think we're all going, how did I get here moments? But no, my husband and my kids are absolutely fantastic, very supportive. Like I said, my husband's my biggest fan, supports me every way I possibly can think of. And my son, who is here, he's 15 and a half years old, and my daughter's 15 and a half years old. She's not so much into it, but she likes to be around them. She's not a big rider, but my 15 and a half year old loves to ride, and then my 20-year-old loves to ride as well. So we'll take him out on trail rides. He's actually in college, so he's not here, but they love riding, and they're great helps. I mean, my family's so supportive and helpful. They really are.
Great. So for other families that are thinking of bringing their children in to try riding, what kind of licenses do you hold? And
Yep. So what you need for therapeutic, you need to hold the PATH certification. So because I have my 2 certifications now, but in New Hampshire, we're fortunate, or unfortunate, I guess depends how you look at it. There is no true licensing for riding. In Massachusetts, there is a Massachusetts riding license, but we don't have that here in New Hampshire. So there is no true certifications. I took the initiative to go and do it because I wanted to make sure I could know everything I possibly could, especially working with kids with handicap and disabilities and adults. I really think it's important to learn as much as you can. But like I said, I think it's like anything else. There's a lot of on-the-job training. When you've been around horses all your life, you learn a lot about the process, and you have to know. And you're in really close with your farrier who do the feet, and you're in close with your vet. So I have some great relationships with other managers at barns and other farriers and vets as well.
Great. Now, can you explain how riding builds confidence for young people?
Yep. Like
Maddie, our special reporter.
Absolutely. So I'll take Maddie as an example. So when Maddie first started, when we first got the horses at home, she was great. She loved the animals. But, I think it's that intimidation of, look at the size of this horse. This horse is almost 18 hands. This is a big horse. I think it's that intimidation to come towards a horse because you don't know what to expect. And it's an animal. It's like anything else in the world. It can turn at a moment. It can, you don't know what the reaction's going to be. So when Maddie first started coming over here, she started to groom them and brush them, and as she got to be around them more, she built her confidence. Now Maddie is incredible. The horse I was talking about earlier, the rescue, Lee, it's actually Maddie's horse, and she boards her here as well. And Maddie has an unbelievable bond with this horse. The relationship is amazing. And it went from nothing. This horse trusted nobody when it came in because it was a rescue. Mm-hmm. So it had been abused, and it was at a kill shelter. So it had no relationship. So Maddie has spent so much time with this horse that it built a relationship. Now she has the confidence that she can take on any horse. She's come near this horse. Now anybody else, it's a very big horse. But she's built her confidence. So it really does build your self-esteem and your confidence once you're comfortable around the horses. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. I think you learn a lot about the horses, things you might not have known before. But that's part of the confidence building, is to trust, And I think, some kids with issues with, separation anxiety or attachment disorders, they don't have that trust and that bond, and you develop that with the horses. So it's really important, and I think that, these are great animals to be able to do that with.
So do you think that the confidence building between the rider and the horse is brought out in other things that children would do in the community, their relationships at school and with friends?
I do. And like I said, I think that anytime you're working in any type of a program, whether it's, working with horses, or if you're working, in a martial arts setting or baseball or whatever, when a child has that confidence level, I think it carries across anywhere. You know what I mean? Once you feel confident, I think you can take on different things and you don't feel as hesitant. So I do believe that it, builds their confidence so that they have better relationships, that they can, be able to work with other people and interact with other people a little bit. Like I said, I think it's with anything else. As soon as you build your confidence, you feel good about yourself. And I think that's important. You're building your self-esteem, and everybody wants to feel good about themselves, right?
Absolutely. So with children with disabilities, are there any special saddles or?
Yeah, there is. In other centers that are larger centers than us, some of them have ramps and they have chairs that will put the children on the horses. Once we become completely certified, we will have those type of ramps as well, so that a child with a wheelchair will be able to ramp up to the horse and be able to get on. But there are special saddles. Everyone wears the same helmet. It is a certified helmet, approved helmet. Just like when you're riding motorcycles, it's an approved helmet, same type of thing. So there's special saddles and special helmets that are, certified helmets that they have to wear. So, and they are tailored. I mean, when you're working with a child with disabilities, you have to understand completely. The nice thing about the PATH licensing is you really have to understand a multitude of disabilities. So it's not just understanding the child, it's understanding what is that disability, from Down syndrome to attachment disorders to ADD, ADHD. I mean, there's just a myriad of disorders. So you really have to spend some time with that child, and I spend time understanding what are their disabilities, what is it they're looking to gain from this. Some kids are very intimidated by a horse, so you want to make sure that they're feeling comfortable. So that's how we start out. But as far as the equipment goes, once we become the PATH certification, we'll have those type of equipment as well.
Great. And Maddie is going to come in and give us a demonstration, and you're going to show us what children would learn on their first day.
Absolutely, absolutely.
Okay. Great. Well, come on over, Maddie. In this segment of Fairy Tale Access, Mrs. Harte, the captain, and our special reporter, Maddie, are going to take over, and they're going to give you an introduction to your first riding lesson. Have fun.
Great. Thanks, Denise. So normally when a child comes to Healing Heart Farm for the first time, we want to make sure that they have a basic understanding of, the equipment that they're going to use and how to groom. So Maddie, I'm going to show with Maddie as a demonstration of some of the equipment and just kind of go through a basics of it. So Maddie, I wanted to let you know, so when you first ride a horse, this is called a head stall, okay? And then there's always a bit attached that goes underneath the horse's tongue. In this case, he has a full cheek snaffle bit. Mm-hmm. The bit is to be able to pull back with the reins, which are these. So when you're riding, you'll pull back on the reins, and that pulls back on the bit to be able to make the horse turn or slow down, okay? So this is your bridle. This here is your saddle. Can you see me? This is your saddle. Mm-hmm. And then I'm gonna just swing around here so I can show you a little better. Stand. So this is what we call a billet. Can you see?
Yeah.
Okay, this is what we call a billet. Mm-hmm. And this is what we call a girth, okay? The billet is what holds the girth on so that you can keep your saddle on. Okay. And you always put your blanket down first, and then you put your saddle on top, okay? Mm-hmm. So what I would like to do is I'd like to show you how to do some basic grooming, because that's really important when we first come in. You have to groom the horses before you ride and after you ride. So you want to make sure that they're brushed down.
Yeah.
So if you don't mind grabbing one of those brushes, that would be great. This is what we call a soft brush. And you always brush with the fur. Yeah. So if you just want to brush down and brush all the dirt off, and normally you would do this before we tack up a horse. So, but because we were already, riding the horses, we had done it a little bit before, but you always do this before you get on a horse. So you want to make sure you're grooming the horse from the top down. We also have some brushes for the manes. So we would have the children first just groom the horse so that they can get the horses cleaned up before they go. Next part of the process, before we can ride a horse, you always want to make sure that they have their feet cleaned. That's important. Horses don't have flat feet like we do. What they have is what's called, it's almost like a U shape, and it's called a frog in the middle. And in the middle of those frogs, they can get dirt and rocks and stones, so you always have to make sure those are cleaned out. So if Maddie wants to grab the pick, we use a pick for that. She's just going to step out here for a minute. There we go. This particular, can I just see that for a moment? Mm-hmm. This particular pick has actually a pick on this end that you would pick out for the frogs, and a brush to be able to clean off the top of the hoof. So we're going to demonstrate here how you would do that. It's a little bit of a process, but you have to make sure you do it properly because, like I said, if you don't, the horses will get mud and dirt inside their frogs. So Maddie, I'm just going to swing around here. And I'm going to have you do it. I want you to come around here, and I want you to pick up the foot here as though you were going to clean out their hoof. You pick it up like this, and you hold it in your hand like this.
Okay.
So why don't you try that? Okay. Now you're going to take this pick, and this pick, inside there is what's called frogs. It's kind of a V shape, and in this V shape is where all the dirt, and you can see all the dirt in the horse's feet.
Yeah.
So if you want to take that and clean that out, and you'll get to see what the actual hoof looks like when there's no dirt in it, which is really important. Like I said, it can hurt their feet if you don't. These particular horses that we use do not have shoes. It is actually better for their feet if they don't have shoes. We do a lot of natural footing, which in trails and in the paddock. So it's a natural, so really don't need to have shoes on them. So how'd you do? Let me see. Good, now take the brush and you want to brush off the top. You want to really clean that out good. Like I said, it's really important that they have clean feet so that they don't get, the rocks in there. Good job. Now, as you can see, there's a little V in the foot, which is called the frog, so everything is cleaned out. And now we would do all three other feet. So, these are just the basic skills that we teach the kids before they get on and ride. And in the nice weather, obviously, we teach them how to wash the horses too. That's quite a project, but I have taught Maddie how to wash a horse, but it's no different than washing your dog. It's just an oversized dog, basically, to wash. But there are some special shampoos that you need to use, and we do put some conditioner on their hoofs to ensure that there's no chipping, especially this time of year where the ground is more dried out, and except for in the last few weeks where it's been raining a lot, we want to make sure that their feet stay moist. Another concern is if the ground is a lot dirty, if it's more wet, like the rain we've been having for the last few weeks, what can happen is a horse can get what's called thrush within those frogs of their feet. Not to get too technical, but that's important to understand because it's a infection inside of their hoofs, and you want to make sure that that stays cleaned out so that they don't get that. So grooming is very important before you start to ride. So when you're done riding, then you would take all the equipment off, and then we would put it all back away, and then we would groom again because you want to make sure there's no sweat and sweat marks because then it can just build up and the dirt just sits there.
Yeah.
So would you like to try? I don't know if she wants to try to ride her or.
Okay.
You want to ride him? Okay. So I'll show you basic kitting on it. If you want to just put that down, I'll show you how to basically get on the top of a horse. You always want to get onto the left of the horse, okay? So we can come around here just a little bit if this works for you. Come over here, Maddie. I don't know if you can see her. Can you see her over here? Okay. Come over here. Okay. Now, we'll put the reins up over Captain's head. Okay. You always want to make sure that you're safe. So you always want to make sure you know what you're doing here. Now, in most cases, we have a block.
Yeah.
Do you want to go grab the block right there? Sorry.
Okay.
You usually have the block right here, and the block is to be able to help the children get up onto the horse a little bit easier. Every kid is different. Some are really little, they have a harder time, so we'll put the block down here. And you always want to put your left foot into the stirrup. This is called a stirrup, and you want to put your left foot into it and grab onto the horn. This is a Western riding saddle. Now you just want to swing this leg up, put the pressure in here, swing your leg up. Great job. We want to make sure that the stirrups are adjusted so that they fit her. That looks great. So we'll just stand here for a moment. Okay. In a Western saddle, it's a little different than in English. A Western actually has what's called a horn. A lot of kids first starting out will hold the horn. English is very different. The billet is different, and the girth is a little bit different style, as well as the entire saddle. The reins are as different as well. So we do work with Western. So this is a Western saddle tack. Okay. So if you were to start to ride, when you start to ride, what you want to be able to do is, in his case, he is not a neck reiner. Okay. What neck reining means is you would take it and go to the left and to the right when he wants to turn. Captain doesn't do that. Captain is held in two hands like this, okay? You hold it. You give him a little bit of leeway, and when you want to turn to the left, you're going to pull with this hand, and you're going to kick with your outside leg, right leg. Okay, so you're going to kick with your right leg and turn to the left, okay? He's a very good horse. So I'll stand next to you and hold him, just so that, yep, don't worry, I'll stand next to you and hold him, so that you can feel a little bit comfortable with him. So let's turn this way a little bit. There you go. Good job. We'll just walk right here in a circle a little bit so that everybody can kind of see how you would turn. So if you pull your hand to the left, yep, good job. Good. And Captain is a great horse. He's very responsive. He works really well with other children, and he gets along great with the other horses as well. So he's a great horse to learn on. And like I said, all of our horses here at Healing Heart Farm have had children on them and adults, and we really work with the kids. So we want to make sure that they understand everything. How you feel up there?
Good.
Good. Good. Now, in order to get down, you're going to take this leg out, okay? And you're going to hold onto the horn, put the reins here, hold on to the horn and swing your right leg over and step down. Whoop, there you go. Good job. Now you'll just come down. Good job, Maddie. Good job. So, and that's just the basics of, you know, the tack and how we start out with the child. And like I said, I do spend a lot of time with their parents and the child to really understand what they're looking for.
Thank you so much, ladies.
No problem, thank you.
So I'd like to thank Maddie and Mrs. Harte for giving us this demonstration today and doing our interview. And if people want more information,
if people want some information right now, you can find us at Healing Heart Farm on Facebook.
until next time, keep asking questions. And if you want to try horseback riding, there's no time like the present. See you soon.
Bye.